Mississippi State 40, Arkansas 17. This was usually a back and forth time style game here, but man, Mississippi State red hot Bulldogs dominated this matchup. I mean, it was 21-0 right out the gate. Arkansas never stood a chance, and I think this is what we talked about, Shane. How will they handle the quarterback with KJ Jefferson likely out? They brought out Fortin to start. I mean, that was just an epic disaster. Blew up in their face, threw for 8 yards. Then you bring in Malik Hornsby, which you should have done at the beginning. He didn't light the world on fire, but he gave you a spark, but it was too little too late because Mississippi State, Will Rogers, just incredible, Shane, 395 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was not even touched, I don't think, in this game. And here's the biggest thing, Shane. There's 2 things with Mississippi State that I love. Mike Leach now is committed to running the football when it's there, and they rushed for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns on Arkansas. That is what you have to do if the defense is dropping 8. You just got to pound that rock. He's willing and committed to doing it now. And that Mississippi State defense, Shane, this is as physical and as tough as they have ever been under Mike Leach. And they out Arkansas, so to speak. I mean, goal line stands, making big-time plays. This is one hell of a dangerous Mississippi State team. And I'm not saying they're going to win the West, but I am not ruling them out of doing that either. It's unfortunate for them. They slipped up against LSU, so their margin for error is gone. I think that's one by the end of the season. They're going to be kicking themselves. They lost to LSU.
I think so too, and I think one of the ones you hit on was Dylan Johnson, just the absolute animal. I mean, he is like old school running back, and I love it, brother. If you watch him run, he'll run right through you. And then I guess you were talking about your 2 favorite things. I love this ducking kid. Every time he scores, I want him to score more touchdowns just so I can see those dances.
I heard on SEC Network, Shane, they called him Mr. Autocorrect. Do you get that?
Oh.
You ever try to type some profanities on your phone? It changes to ducking real quick. But
that's right. I've texted that a few times to you. Are you ducking kidding me?
Mississippi State also showed in the red zone 4 for 4, 27 points. That'll win you a lot of ball games. While Arkansas 1 of 3 for only 7 points. And how about this, Shane? Mississippi State has scored 17 consecutive red zone opportunities. They now lead the nation 20 of 21 in the red zone, scoring 95%. Again, it speaks to how veteran a team this is, what great decisions Will Rogers is making. You want to talk about threading the needle, Shane. That's difficult. When Arkansas is dropping 8 in the red zone, these windows are small, but Will Rogers is finding them, exploiting them, and man, I just could be. It's like one of our boys here, Shane, because we've been talking them all up all off season. We're about ready to jump off a bandwagon after LSU, but now we're back and we're claiming all the quotes we had this off season. They're living up to the hype. I'm like a proud parent over here. You know what?
Oh, absolutely. The training wheels are off, and they're off and running, brother. I think this is great. Mississippi State fans, they've went through some dark days themselves. And I think they're finally bouncing back, and they're fun to watch, man. I mean, it's been a long time since the Bulldogs have been fun to watch, but it's both sides of the ball. Like you said, defense and offense. These guys are just playing great. But I got to address the elephant in the room, Mike. Here we are, Arkansas, 3 losses.
Yeah.
We're going to BYU next week.
Critical game.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what the spread is on this thing. I think we discussed it, but BYU barely lost to Notre Dame, so they're no longer a top 25 team, but they're still a dangerous program, especially if Arkansas is limping into it. They got to get past this one. After this, they got a bye week. I think they can correct a few things, get their mind right, but this is the ultimate trap game here. So what does Arkansas have to do, Mike? What do they got to do this week?
Well, they got to get KJ healthy, get him back in the lineup. I think we saw how valuable he is to this team. They have got to – I don't know if you can solve the issues on defense because they're just dreadful right now. But the one thing they do got going for them is they can get to the quarterback. Now, you can't do that if you're dropping 8. Obviously, 0 sacks in this ball game. They probably no longer lead the SEC in sacks, but they were. But, man, that's what we got to use the bye week for, basically, I think, is try to fix this defense. Losing a key player here or there has just thrown a complete wrench into the game plan on the defensive side of the ball. They're just awful. They're awful on defense right now. And so they need KJ Jefferson and they in this running game to outscore you. And I still think they can outscore a lot of the teams left on their schedule. But this defense is also making them beatable, I think, in basically every SEC football game. So key to that, Shane, is just don't give up the hope. I know the fans are down in the dumps, but I still think Arkansas can come out of here with a 8-win season if they take care of business, but it's got to start here against BYU, who, come on, give me a break. They're overrated, you know.
I was hoping they'd beat Notre Dame just so they get their asses beat this week, but now it's not as fun. But
Right.
We'll still do it. We'll still take it.
Coach, for the second straight week, no sacks for your offensive line, but this time it was against the team that leads the conference in sacks. What did they do well, and what can you say about their performance?
I thought we blocked pretty well. I thought we were pretty good up front, got a lot of yards on the ground, and that's kind of, what they gave us to a certain extent. And then, but we did throw it and did run it well, and I do think that's more of a credit to our offensive line. And then, I thought Will did a good job managing the game, and so we did have a consistency that I liked pretty well. We stubbed our toe a few times and didn't finish a couple drives, but generally speaking, we were consistent. And I do think the more consistent team won this game.
Coach, your running backs touched the ball 46 times, almost 300 yards, had your best day running the football since you've been here. How much has that part of the game evolved, you think, over the last 3 years, especially with Dylan and Woody?
Well, I think we got a couple. I actually think we have 3 really good running backs, and then and you want them to touch the ball. It kind of you could look at it this way: you had Dylan on the ground and Woody through the air, and they both had a bunch of yards. Like if you add up. And you look like a guy that's really good in math and things. I mean, because that's why everybody goes into journalism, because they love math. And to be perfectly honest, I hated math, so I actually thought about journalism for that particular reason. But those backs, the backs had. They might have had as many yards as the rest of the team combined. I don't think quite, but it's probably kind of close.
You have a game, and you better get ready for it. And we've lost 3 in a row. I told the kids after if anybody asks them a question, blame me, because I'm the head coach, and I'm the one that deserves the blame. And I'm not trying to be holier than thou up here. I believe that I'm the head coach. I deserve the blame. I guess basically what I'm saying is I don't want our kids. There's a difference in losing and being a loser, and there's a difference. And we lost, but we're not a group of a bunch of losers, because we can come back. And our goal from the beginning of the year was to go to a bowl, and it could be the playoff bowl, it could be this, but our minimum goal is to get to a bowl game, and we still have that opportunity. And you know how it is. You know how it is when you lose something to play for. Then it's hard, but we haven't.
Well,